we come a-caroling among the leaves so green. Here we come a-wandering so fair to be seen. Love and joy come to you, and to you glad Christmas too. And God bless you and send you a happy new year. And God send you a happy new year. Deck the halls with boughs of holly, fa la 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 la.
'Tis the season to be jolly, fa la 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 la. Got a drip, put it on, turn a king from a pawn. Royal blood is running strong, sing it fa la la.
The party got me spitting while the Fahrenheit is slipping. Catch me hunting while you're whipping, celebrate until it's gone. Rock.
Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh.
O'er the fields we go, laughing all the way.
Bells on bobtails ring,
making spirits bright.
What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey!
Good King Wenceslas looked out on the feast of Stephen.
silent night, holy night. All is calm, all is bright. Round yon virgin mother and child, holy infant, so tender and mild. Sleep in heavenly peace. Sleep in heavenly peace.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
I don't care if Santa won't deliver. Spare me gifts this year. I don't care. All the elves can say ornaments grow pale. I care about you and me and everything we've built together. Memories and feelings bigger than December. Oh, 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 all I need. I care about you and me. And I don't care to buy an old tradition.
All right. A little early, so let's give everybody time to not have echo. Yeah, I don't know if that song is copyright free. I think so. It should be. But it sounded too much like a real song. we're going to go over some of the open-ended questions from the previous quiz. All of your materials should be graded, so you can take a look at that. I'm not positive the accumulative column is correct, so take that with a grain of salt for right now. Blackboard's method of maths is less than what I would say stellar. All right, let's see who's all here. All right, so one of the quiz questions asks you to create a enum, and in that enum have a constructor parameter to indicate whether or not the this is technically wrong, but anyways, this is one of the submitted examples. And is it terrestrial? Well, the question was, is it a planet? And so another thing to note is when you're getting a Boolean, you instead of get is, do is planet. Like that. Makes it shorter. Execute this. See if I have a typo. Good. Another thing to note is some places Java allows the trailing comma like this. And what this does is it allows you to have additional values in the allow you to have additional lines in content without having to change the line above or below. Whereas if you had this, if you want to add Pluto 1 and 2, you have to edit the line above. It's just a convenience now when you're working with source code management tools like Git, where you can eliminate this line and this line from being edited, and the only lines being added are these two. Does that make sense? Just a little programming tip for now before we get into the content. So the enums like this are very useful when you have a set list of things that isn't likely to change ever, if very often at all. Or very often, if ever at all. So, planets. Pluto is no longer a planet. It is a Plutoid. Because, if you'll note, Pluto does have a moon. Pluto's moon and Pluto and its moon rotate around a center axis. That center axis rotates around the sun. Definition of a planet is it itself rotates around the sun. So Pluto doesn't count as a planet anymore. And then this person went above and beyond and added some, I believe this is the number of moons. I'm not positive on the accuracy of these. They look right though. So, as you can see, you have a constructor being called. Note, here's the constructor. It's private, meaning nobody else outside of the Enum can create a planet. You have a moon, so number of moons. And is a planet is, like, these naming conventions are just horrible. C and F are just bad naming. But I'll just leave them for now. You have the constructor. Actually, no, I'll fix it. Now, if you'll notice, isPlanet is used the exact same place. Get around that, you can use this .isPlanet equals isPlanet. The compiler will know that this one is in regards to this one, and this one is in regards to this one. You have two getters. We execute this. Should work. Yeah, there we go. So, the idea of having these private variables and a private constructor, you can actually make these public and do away with the accessors. Oh, sorry, deleted the. There we go. And because they're basically the equivalent of constants, constant dots isPlanet is fine. It's one of those times when good object-oriented programming isn't necessarily the best way, because this is just as clear and saves code. Because this is essentially a constant. Well, this would be. There we go. Result 62. enums shouldn't be used except for things like days of the week or elements in the periodic table. Something that is finite in number, and you're only going to have each one of them is going to have some statistic about it. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay. But this is how you construct it. Note, you have to have the list of enums at the very top, at the first, and then you have the remainder of the enum class. Actually, I don't know if you call it an enum class, but the enum itself, you have all of this after the declarations. So, and then the second one I wanted to talk about was the asking you to do static values and methods with overriding. So, as you can see here, I'm going to run this. It's going to fail. It's going to fail because you'll notice possible lossy conversion from double to int. When you write these by default, it's a double. It will say the exact same thing. Whereas we declared them as float. So, remove my note. Double. And we have to return a double. Let's see. To be complete, we would have double, double, toil and trouble, and all of that. And int here. So you have int, int float, int double, double int, double double. We're missing double float and float double, but you get the idea. You just have the permutations. Yes, you can use float. Hex is a little weird. That's hex. So that'll be 16 plus 10 equals 26. But that this is a decimal, or actually I don't even know the term, but hexadecimal versus binary versus decimal is the number of units in it, whereas this is double, float, long you can do. Execute that and it should work. Oops. Oh, there we go. I got it. There we go. Long should work. I don't know what else. Maybe short? Short might work? No, guess not. But yeah, long, float, double. Not sure what else works like that. I'd have to look. Those are generally the only three you would ever really use. And so this is a lot of code But unfortunately, the way Java works is you can't say, this can be an int, a float, a double, or whatever. This could be whatever, and then return whatever is the largest. The other thing, here's value. Public value. We could do value equals 10. Return value. So I can type. Yeah, I got it. That'll work. Doing this is not a good idea because if you have multiple instances of my class, they will all share value. So if you have, say this is running on a server and this is one player, they add and you return, and another player comes over, they add and they return, then, well, actually here, let me show you. This is when it will be really bad. So the first time it adds it to 20, the second player would get 40, and every time you do this, you get a different result. This is a contrived example. Obviously, you wouldn't purposely do this, but if you are trying to do some type of concurrency project where, let's say you have a large set of data and you have a public something along this line, static, we'll just do it like this, results equals string 1000. Nope. I think that'll work. Yeah. Just uses up a ton of memory. You don't need to use. If you'd have 1,000 by 1,000 grid of strings, basically, and then you have a bunch of different threads all writing to this, you could get, you have to be very careful on which thread is writing to which value, etc., etc. Does that make sense to everybody? This is a more realistic use case of static values in real world usage. Basically collecting all of the different threads results. It's not necessarily the best usage, but common, or at least was. So are there any questions about this here? Demonstrate. Notice it returns a double instead of a integer because it handles it. Okay. Realistically, what you would do is most of these wouldn't actually be static. You wouldn't even have this. And you would just do that. There are nice features of Kotlin. Actually, I wonder if this has Kotlin. execute this, do a sanity check, make sure it's working. See? That's why it's important to do that. Ironically, I've never used a main in Kotlin because I'm always using it in Java. Yeah, we'll forget that. Okay, it looks like that is correct. Might be able to get all this. Might be able just to get this to work. Okay, there we go. You can do some really nice things that might not seem why you're doing them at the time, but you can do class test. Var. So I just want to show you this so that you have an idea. This is not going to be on the exam, but I think it's important to show you some other I should have made tests. Oh, there we go. That's why. actually, that's not going to actually do. There we go. Interesting. Thought that was going to be 3. Oh. Oh. Ha ha ha. Yes. I forgot. This is how the constructors are in Kotlin, not the Java way. Anyways, my point was, you can actually do some really nice things here. A equals int equals 1. This should still execute because what I'm doing is setting default parameters for the constructor. Oh, no. Doesn't like me at all for that. Is it val? Oh, that's probably why. Yeah, I'm still learning Kotlin myself, to be honest. There we go. As you can see, it used the values from here, added them together in the init, which is the initialization, aka the construction code, stored it to C, C returned it. So notice we have parameters and default values in the constructor. So you can do that anywhere. Function hello. Print hello. World. Print line. Hello. Value. And notice you can do string substitution in the string itself. So, just giving you a, well, actually, I need to call this. There you go. I put 2 spaces. But regardless, you can set default parameters. There's a bunch of different things you can do in different languages that, unfortunately, you can't do in Java just because of the age of the language. Kotlin is essentially Java++, a type of Java++. The Java language itself is growing, but anyways. There we go. So, I just wanted to demonstrate some interesting things you can do with Kotlin. The default parameters is really, really useful because you don't have to do this. Let me show you a demonstration. Fun. Add any b any print line wow. Result equals a plus b. Results. Add 5, 4. Execute this. Any is a oh well. I'll have to play around with that. Just something. You can do things like that. That's a bad example, but essentially you would try to do something along those lines and not have all this nonsense here. Actually, I don't know. Then you'd have to handle, like, making sure it's math operations. But regardless. Sometimes, unfortunately, you have to do something like this where you overload the types clearly in all of them. Like I said, I'm going to push back the exam right now. I went through and I can push it back if people prefer to 5 on Friday. If that's fine with people, it's up to you all. And then it would be due. I can make it Sunday at midnight or 11:59, end of day. Or what did I say in the messages? I said noon, I think. Yeah, I said tomorrow at noon. So, whatever the majority of people want, I'm fine with that. And if anybody has any issues, let me know. What I'm going to do is be more precise with my wording of exactly what I expect. And my recommendation is try to have a JDoodle window open and write it in there and then copy the working result into the exam. Okay. Then we'll make it go live at 5 for everybody, unless anybody has any issues with that, and then do it midnight on Sunday, or 11:59. There'll be a time period, probably 2 hour. I will, when I post it, I'll post in the chat to notify you exactly how long you have. All right, so that should clear up the overriding of both regular methods and statics and how enums, you can set default variables. Does anybody have any questions themselves? You should be able to see your quiz grades Everybody's the big evaluation of design patterns assignment is graded. Everything should be graded at this point. So, does anybody have any questions? Not sure of something? And what I was just doing over here in Kotlin, like, hey, does this work? I wonder if this works. That's what I recommend doing, seeing when you're learning a language and testing out stuff. Like, I try to use any as little as possible, because I know that not all things are going to operate. Any plus any isn't necessarily going to work on all types. So, at first, if you're learning Android Studio, I would recommend staying with Java, just until you're familiar with getting applications running and working, because you know Java from this class. Then I would recommend converting individual files to Kotlin automatically and seeing if you understand what it does. Then, from there, try to write new files from Kotlin. That's the exact approach we took at work, and it worked out quite well. All right, if nobody has any other questions, that's about it from me. I just wanted to go in depth with this, these two in particular, and walk our way through them. If anybody has questions, remember, feel free to message me on Discord. I'm available mostly whenever, and that should be it. Hopefully, you'll all have your final project turned in. Does anybody have any questions regarding the final project? The project itself is fairly straightforward. The only difficult part, I think, should be figuring out how to write to a file and read from a file, but realistically, that's not difficult. Once you see the working solution, you'll be like, oh, that's really quite simple. Okay. All right, everybody. We will go ahead and end the class here then. Remember, make sure to get your exam done. Oh, okay. Somebody has a question. Or they don't have a question with regards to the final. All right. Somebody else is typing. Give them a second. 1 second's up. They don't get to get their answer. No, I'm kidding. Okay. They also don't have any questions. If you do, feel free to message me. I'll try to get back as quickly as possible. Make sure to start work on the project. Get that done as soon as possible. That way I can turn that in, and you can just be done with it, basically. Because I know finals are a hectic week for everybody, so... Otherwise, we will go ahead and end the class here, and I hope everybody has a safe weekend, and does well in this class and the remainder of your other classes. So we'll go ahead and end here. You all have a good long weekend, and if I don't speak to you again, good luck. If you want, feel free to add me on LinkedIn. You search for me, you should be able to find me. Michael A. Walker. There's only 30,000 Michael Walkers. That half of them teach programming. So good luck finding me. And we'll end here.